Hi, welcome to AAUW Connections. I'm Marge Bruno, and tonight we're going to be talking about a program that's been an undeservedly well-kept secret. It shouldn't be a secret. It's one that does just wonderful work, and I think more people should know about it. I know more people should know about it. And it's called Books Aloud. And with us to discuss this program are Joyce Muir, who is the CEO of Books Aloud, and Greg Landers, who's a volunteer supreme, who is a reader and a sound engineer, and heaven only knows what all else. But that much I know. Now, tell us a little bit about Books Aloud. When was it formed?
Well, Books Aloud was originally formed in the 1970s, early 70s, when Florence Peer Carroll, who is our founder, deceased, but she was the youth chairman for West Valley Federated Women's Club, and her mother started losing her eyesight. And she came to us and she said, wouldn't it be a great idea if we were to record children's books, and then mothers of blind children could come together, 9 or 10 of them. One could stay with the kids while they all independently listened to their books, while the others could go to the spa, they could go home and take a nap, they could go shopping.
A little respite for the mothers.
Little respite for the mothers, and the children could all be entertained with their individual books that they could listen to.
So it started out as a program for children.
That's where it started.
And for children who were blind or...
Children who were blind.
Oh, but now it covers many other... What amazed me about the program was the spectrum of people that you serve. It isn't only blind people, is it?
No, and it's not only children. It's actually from probably our youngest is 6 months old to our oldest is 107, and everything in between. They're blind, visually impaired, learning disabled, physically disabled. Sometimes it's a temporary setback that somebody's going through surgery and they can't hold a book, but they can spend the time listening to books so they don't go nuts while they're recuperating.
Tell me, you just said 6 months old. How would a 6-month-old, how would your program be useful?
Well, because if you've got a little blind baby,
yes,
then they can listen to an audiobook. They can't turn it on, but mom can turn it on for them while they're on their little bed. And mom doesn't have to worry about them because they're entertained with this book.
Okay. So those are very short books. No,
they're very short books, yes.
At that age, have a very short attention span.
They're short books. They're picture books, but the little ones, they can listen and they can get entertained.
And then you said up to age 107?
Up to 107.
Oh my goodness. Well, now how did you come to the program?
Well, I actually was a member of West Valley when Florence brought this project to us.
This is the women's club there.
The women's club. And I was a member there. But then I attended the functions and the fundraising kind of things, but I was never that involved. I did some recording, but I was never that involved in coming to the facility to do the distribution and all that. And so then 12 years ago, a dear friend of mine asked me to come onto the board of directors of Books Aloud. And she said, we really need to revive the board. So I said, okay, what's it entailed? And so I went on the board for 4 years. And then in 2003, we were doing the relocation from the old San Jose Library to the new Dr. Martin Luther King Library. And I came in just to do the relocation coordination. And I'm still there.
You did such a good job that they never let you go.
I'm still there. I got brought in hook, line, and sinker. I love what we do. I love the people that we serve and the volunteers and the volunteer opportunities for what this organization provides.
We'll be talking about that later, about the breadth of volunteer. Now, Greg, how did you come to to be
She
part of this?
hijacked my voice.
Well, you have I mean, really, a voice.
Well, thank you. It's one of those things I can take no credit for it. I actually met Florence. I knew Florence. She was in the Kiwanis Club of San Jose. In fact, she was the first woman ever admitted to the Kiwanis Club of San Jose. And so I knew Florence back then. I've known each of the executive directors since then. And just about each one of them grabbed me and said, "You have to read for us."
That's right.
And I've always been too busy to devote the time. And finally, Joyce succeeded where the others failed. And
Persistence paid off.
And now I'm committed. And I go in every week, at least 2 hours a week.
Wow.
And I'll read for 1 hour, and then I'll be a sound engineer for another hour.
So that's a real commitment. Now,
And it's great. I love it.
who is qualified? Describe your clients.
Our clients are those who are blind, visually impaired, learning disabled, physically disabled, dyslexic, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, any of the learning disabled classifications within that. And then it's a simple application, and they actually can pull it off right from our website. And then there's a verification of disability from either a doctor, a nurse, a special needs teacher, a physical therapist.
Okay, so it's not a very onerous qualification process.
No, not at all.
Okay. So how many clients do you have now?
Currently, we have over 2,200.
Wow. Oh, that is really and okay, that's how many you have. If you had all the money you needed and all the facilities and all the volunteers, how many potential clients?
The potential clients just in seniors in Santa Clara County alone is 65,000. The special needs classrooms, there are 26,000 children in special needs, of which all actually qualify to be a client.
By virtue of being in the special needs classrooms.
Yes.
Now, as far as the special needs classes, you serve all of them in Santa Clara County or just in the San Jose area? Where?
We actually serve all over the United States and into Canada.
Even in the classroom?
Even in the classroom. We don't personally go into the classroom except in Santa Clara County, because we do deliver personally into Santa Clara County. Everything else is mailed out by free matter for the blind and disabled through the postal system.
So the Postal Service provides free, that's a wonderful gift.
It's incredible.
Because imagine what that postage would be.
Yeah, and we send it out in the box. We put a label, return label on it. They listen to them. They send them back to us with the return label, and it's all free matter through the Postal Service.
Oh, that's great. Now, speaking about the classroom, that program, that's one of your programs.
Yes.
So what is the name of that program?
It's called the Mini Library Program, and this bag actually kind of represents what's going to go into the classroom along with other things. And we actually send in the tape recorder, we send in the headsets, and depending on the classroom, we could send multiple tape recorders, multiple CD recorders, and multiple headsets, splitters, so that multiple children can be listening to them at the same time. Then we'll send in anywhere from 20 to 40 audiobooks along with the printed book. And one of the
printed
things
book is for whom?
For those who are dyslexic, learning disabled, not, needless to say, not the blind, but those that are dyslexic and learning disabled. And so then we also started, and this was by interviewing some of our parents, and we were told that the mother was always in the room when the daughter was reading the book because she has motor skill deficiency, and so she had a tendency to tear the pages.
Because she couldn't
do otherwise. I said, don't worry about it. If she tears the pages, we know it's not malicious. Send it back. We'll replace it. Yeah. Because the whole idea is that they become independent readers, excited about reading. But then we came up with the idea, what if we laminated them for you?
Oh, yes.
And so we now take all our picture books apart, laminate them, and then put the binders back on them so all of our children can be independent readers.
Well, and I would think because they're laminated, they're a little thicker. are they, each page. So for a child who's having some problems, motor skills,
yes,
it's easier to turn those pages.
It's easier
too,
to turn those pages.
Great idea.
While they're listening to the cassette, and so they really can become independent readers and get excited about reading.
You gave me some statistics earlier when we were speaking about how this program can move along enhance their skills, and how much more rapidly the children can.
Teachers have taught us, and actually we've learned this from teachers, because we do this not only in the preschool area, but in, like, this is one of our latest ones, which is part of the Catching Fire, which is one of the latest out. And the teachers have told us that by the student reading along while they're listening, they improve their reading comprehension in a matter of 2 to 4 months, the equivalent of 2 to 4 years.
Wow. Oh my
Huge.
goodness, that is really impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, so this is, now you have the mini libraries in the schools. Where else do you have them?
We have them in convalescent homes, in senior assisted living facilities, and we actually will make them available to any of those environments.
And
there's
how often,
no cost.
I'm thinking, how often are that set of books or materials updated, or where you bring new ones in?
Our goal is to do it on a monthly basis. Excuse me. Right now, at this point, we're backlogged, but I am
backlogged with requests that.
Backlogged with, yes. And I'm excited to say that we have a new retired educator who's come on board with us as a volunteer, who's going to take on this piece of the pie as his baby in order to have it right up to, so that every month they're getting new books. That's exciting.
If I can point out here, I mean, people say that's great, you volunteer, you read at Books Aloud, but I'm just one small part of Books Aloud. There are lots and lots of volunteer opportunities. We need people who catalog and put these together and pack the bags and actually handle the requests saying we would like this book or this series. So there's lots of opportunities. You don't have to have a voice like this to be a volunteer for the community.
Yeah. And as you said, you alluded to the fact that the material is delivered, so someone delivers it?
Yes.
And, well, so what other, so that's the mini library
That's
program.
the mini library piece.
And what else do you do? I know you have other programs.
We do have other programs. We have what we call the Sight and Sound, where we put together the printed book along with the audio book, and those can be delivered into the homes of individuals. A number of our children clients have come to us by way of getting exposed in the mini library in their classroom. And then they sign up individually, so they're getting the books at home. Even after they've left that classroom, they're getting their books at home. We have another program that actually came to us a few years ago when Reading for the Blind and Dyslexics had stopped doing. Helen Carnes from Palo Alto had her 3rd grade class where they would study blindness. Helen Keller, Guide Dogs for the Blind, that whole curriculum. And then they would go to the studio and they'd record a book.
Oh, so children recording books for children.
Children recording books for children. And they had stopped doing that, and so they had referred them to us. And when they called and said, would you be willing to do this? I said, absolutely, I would love to do this. They have to study for 6 to 8 weeks before they come in to record, because they have to be proficient in their recording.
Oh, of course, and they have to be able to read the book
They have to be able to read the book smoothly. And typically they'll have parts in the book. So like if it's the 3 little pigs, you'll have 3 little pigs who are each a different part.
Each child.
Yes. And that is an incredible program that we call Kids Cast. And they come in and they record. While they're there, they also get to learn to braille their name on a little braille machine that we have that is alphabetical. But it comes out in Braille, and then we give them the sheets to show what those letters all mean.
Well, what a great experience for those kids, and they're providing the material for your clients.
Yeah. And we've been asked, well, why children? But if you stop and think, if you've got the 90, the 100-year-old who's listening to that child's book, it's like having a grandchild come to read to you.
So these books are not just for other children. They're children's books, though.
They're children's books, but they're in our collection.
Isn't that? Oh, that's.
If you take a toddler, it's like having an older brother or sister come and read to them. So it's really a fun project.
So, and that's called Kids Cast.
That's Kids Cast.
Now, what about the books that are just sent out to individuals? You mentioned up to age 107 and all over the United States. Did you tell me when I spoke to you earlier that you even have a client in Alaska?
Yes.
My goodness.
We have clients in Alaska, in Canada, in Hawaii.
How did they hear about you?
Mostly word of mouth. And I think where the first people that were out of the state wound up is that they were in state, they were using the service, and then they moved to be closer to a
family
sibling or somebody, and then it just spread from there.
And how long are they allowed to keep the book?
If it's local here in Santa Clara County, it's just a month. But if it's Alaska, it's Canada, it's Hawaii, then those are 3 months.
Oh.
But we service the client every month, so there's a constant supply of books that's going to that client's home. But
So they would have more than one book at a given time.
Well, and they could have up to 12 books at a given time. We have one gentleman who gets 12 books twice a month.
12 books twice a month?
Twice a month. His only entertainment conversation is about the books he reads by listening.
Wow.
He is bedfast. That's what he does. That's his livelihood.
So how else do people learn about your program?
We try to go on resource fairs here, particularly. We also send out newsletters. We also think this is a great opportunity for people to hear about it, is because even though we've been around a long time, we're still one of the best kept secrets.
Yeah, I hate to admit that I did not know about it. And
the advantage of KMTV is that there's not only potential listeners out here, but there's potential volunteers too.
Yes.
I've got a couple of friends living in Sunnyvale that come on down and volunteer. And we'd welcome anybody who wants to come on down. And as Joyce can mention, there's flexible hours for doing whatever you want to do. Reading, filing, mailing, whatever.
And I believe we have on screen, there's a contact number where if someone wanted to volunteer, they could call that telephone number. And
Absolutely.
I know you have a website.
Yes, we do.
And you don't even have to have the www. I went to Google and put in
Books Aloud.
Books Aloud, and
there we were.
It's a very good website, incidentally.
Thank you.
It works really,
I did
really
share
well.
that, Marge, with our webmaster, and he was thrilled.
Oh yeah, I was very impressed by it, the ease of use and how comprehensive it is.
Well, and we try to keep new stuff on it all the time. We are also now on Facebook, and so we're now putting on the new books as they come through the studio. We're putting the new books on Facebook so people can see the latest and greatest. Because we make a commitment that every week we will have new books on our shelves.
Every week?
Every week.
How many books are out there, and how many books do you own in your collection?
Over 8,000 titles.
Wow, that's...
And how many a year are we adding?
We add 300 every year.
And well, then, and are some of the books retired? Do you keep track of? Well, this book has only been requested once in the last year. Maybe that's. How do you work that?
Actually, we've started in going back through ones that were recorded years ago when we weren't in a studio. Some were recorded in homes and all, and so we're retiring ones that just don't have the same quality that we have today.
Okay, which brings us to recordings. And now, Greg, you're one of the readers. How, if someone decided, if someone came to you, or Greg came to you, you hadn't been trying to get him, but he volunteered and
Greg
said,
was dragged to her.
I would, what I would like to do is read books. obviously you can't just take anybody who walked. Some people are better at it than others. What was the process like for you?
Well, there's
Greg?
an interview, and you're basically given a book and set a time and say, come on in at this date and time and read for an hour. And then that is recorded and it goes before a board, and they listen and they evaluate your reading voice, your quality, your pacing.
Well, it's a team.
Board of 2 to 3
yeah,
people.
it's a team.
But you're given the book in advance, so you're not just reading cold.
Correct.
Okay, that's
exactly.
Fair. And okay, so you're reading it. They're listening to it, and the hardest part must be telling people you don't make the grade. Sorry, you know. Well, I assume that you say, but how would you like to drive?
Well, that's exactly. We have so many opportunities there that if she said we can't use your voice, but we could sure use you filing or editing or working on the computer or something. There's opportunities for everyone there.
So and so you said, Greg, that you go in once a week for 2 hours. Is that
correct?
Okay.
I read for 1 hour, and Joyce expanded the program this past year, where I've teamed up with an excellent reader by the name of Scott Elner, who works here at Lockheed. And so Scott and I can't come in during the normal workday. We both have jobs. We come in typically Thursday evenings at 6 p.m., and one of us will read for an hour while the other one acts as the recording engineer. At the end of 1 hour, we switch, and the other one will go into the recording room, and then I'll sit in front of the computer and I'll record for Scott. So we double team that way. Becomes more efficient. We don't have to wait for an opening with a sound engineer who can record us during the day.
Yeah, that I can see where that would work really.
It's worked very well.
Now, do you have your own studio?
We have 2 studios that are actually provided. Our space is 3,200 square feet of space in the Dr. Martin Luther King Library. It's provided to us by the city library, and it includes 2 studios.
So you didn't have to equip the studio, or did you?
Well, we equipped the studio with the equipment. The physical shell was there.
The space is there.
The space is there. Well, and the Kiwanis Club of San Jose actually came in and did the soundproofing for us in the studio.
That was my first time in Books Aloud. I was in there stapling up acoustic tiling on the wall.
And then Joyce heard you saying, nail it here. And
That's
she
right.
Said, that voice.
And I said, that voice, get it in here.
That is really remarkable. How long, and I understand some books are longer than others, but about how many weeks or months does it take before you have a whole book recorded?
It takes about 1 week per chapter. Now it depends on the book, because if you have 4 or 5 page chapters, you can get through 3 or 4 chapters. The book I have right now, I'm going on, I believe, my 18th week, because it's a fairly long book, and I'm lucky to get a chapter a week completed.
Okay. Now, who chooses the books? How are the books chosen?
Actually, they're chosen a number of different ways. We get books donated to us, more so now probably than ever. And so if we get a book donated to us by one of our either a client, a volunteer, somebody that knows us, we actually go on Amazon and look at customer reviews and see, okay, how does this book rate with the people who have read it? And we're looking for 4 or 5 star books. If it's less than a 4 or 5 star, we donate it back to the Friends of the Library. If it is a 4 or 5 star book, we'll put it in the hopper then in order to be read. We get recommendations from teachers, and we're trying to expand this piece of it tremendously, because we want all of our special needs kids to be on par level with their peers. So we're asking the teachers, particularly in middle school and high school, for any of the English classes where there's specific books they're going to read. We want to know those books, so that we have them recorded, so that these special needs students can contact us and they've got the same book that their peers are reading.
Now, how do the teachers know about your program? Mailings or what?
Some mailings. The Kiwanis Special Games, and it's been in De Anza previously, and there's been 67 schools there the last couple of years. And so we actually go around to each of these teachers who are there at special games to hand them brochures, to hand them the information, to let them know that we've just gotten funding, like from the Sharks Foundation. They have been terrific in supporting this program. And so we go around and literally give them the applications and say, please contact us.
Now, when you're talking about donations and whatnot,
yes,
we all know that in the last couple of years, with the economy being what it is, that all of many of your type of agencies, the nonprofits, have really been hard hit. Has that applied to you as well?
It's absolutely, Marge. We were hit very hard last year, and as a matter of fact, with my recommendation, we went on an all-volunteer staff from July 1st to October 1st.
Oh my.
And
that had to be a hardship for some of the staff.
It was. It was. But they believe enough in the program that they hung in there with us. And I'm pleased to say that 3 of the positions were put back on staff, paid staff, as of October 1st.
Now, Marge, may I underline that these services are all free for the clients, because that's what the purpose is. That 107-year-old person out there wanting a book does not have to pay a monthly fee, but it's not free to produce or to ship and to pack.
Clearly not.
So when we talk about donations, I'll be the one to step right out there and say, we'd love to have donations to Books Aloud, even if you're not going to read the books. If you want to send some money or some donation and volunteer your time, you can also volunteer your money.
If you wanted, so if someone watching this program would want to send some money, what would they do? How would they send it?
The easiest way is to go on our website at www.booksaloud.org, and there's a tab there that says Donate.
Okay.
And you can donate, and it goes right through Google and goes right into our bank.
Oh, that's great.
It's incredible.
And I assume anything, the smallest donation to obviously the larger, are all very much appreciated.
They are very much appreciated, because it takes funding from a lot of different organizations, a lot of different individuals, to keep the service going, to be free.
Well, I was struck when I was looking at your website, and you had financials from 2008, 2009, so that really, those were, at least part of that time, were better times.
Right. That was very good times.
Yeah, and yet, only 1%, what percentage, no, it wasn't 1%, but it was some tiny percentage of your total budget was for administration.
There's actually 3% that's administration,
and you know,
and 4% is on fundraising.
That is truly amazing, because when you look at others, even when you read guidelines for what's an acceptable amount,
it's a lot more than
25%. So you people are just doing a wonderful job. It's a shame that our time is running out.
And one of the things that Greg is pointing out here is that on all of our books, that we actually, when we produce them,
you'll put a name
we put who is funded.
Okay.
This one was funded by the Valley Foundation.
Okay, and this can be any of us for a donation.
Could be anybody.
So, and thank you so much. We could have used 3 times the amount of time. This is such a wonderful program. I hope you do get lots of volunteers and donations from it. And thank
you,
all
Marge.
of you for watching AAUW Connections.